Hello everyone and welcome to the next episode of Art Side of Life, where it's all about how you can turn your creative passion into a profession. My name is Eva and my guest today is a film director and story visual artist from France, now living and working in Denmark. After studying filmmaking in France, she graduated with character animation bachelor for the animation workshop in Denmark. Fascinated by rhythm, she wants to literally immerse her audience into her creations. While every part of her filmmaking is planned and carefully structured, she strives to bring hope and tenderness into her audience. Through one of her last internships, she worked in Cartoon Saloon in Ireland as a shadow director, story concept artist, as well as assistant animator on the feature films like Wolf Walkers, Breadwinner, and the short film Late Afternoon, and other secret projects. The water is one of the essential components for her work, and she is currently working on her next short movie, Siblings, where she develops another relationship toward this element. So please welcome Jessica Laurent. And before we get to the interview, little side note, a technical glitch caused that my video was not recorded at all, that's why I only put a static image of myself. And now, let's just get to the interview. Welcome everyone to the next episode of Art Side of Life, and I'm super happy to have my guest here, Jessica. Hi!
Hi Eva, how are you?
Great. My pleasure that you are here, so I'm really excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. Really.
And let's start with your background, and maybe you can share some stories from your childhood, like how were you creative, or what was your creative outlet at that time?
Actually, it's quite funny that you talk about my childhood because I think everything comes from the childhood, and I love studying about psychology and why are you doing this right now. And for example, my mom just told me not so long ago that all my childhood drawing, I had drawn characters with 10 fingers per hands because I wanted to do so much that they were like, yeah, you just needed to be sure you have all the tools. So yeah, I think when I was younger, I really liked to create story most of all, not. I was drawing, but drawing was just a tool, and I was writing stories about Smurf, or I was taking whatever was under my hand and drawing for my parents. And since I'm a little, I really like telling story, and I think it's where it came from that I went to animation because thanks to the movement you can tell stories, and then from there I decided to actually be more a director because I really wanted to pass a vision, and that's basically what I was doing since I was young.
So you were writing stories already when you were a kid?
Yes, yeah. I mean, a little story. It was like the sleeping Smurf that was falling asleep and that was crossing the whole city, and everyone was following him. I mean, as you can see, that was really high stories.
Did you eat a lot of sugar? So it's
Yeah. Yeah, I love candies also. I don't think if it's a good match together, but
because then we are more hyper.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, one of my things on my bucket list is to write a book at one point, just to dive deeper into what is a construction of a story, and also because I think everything is connected in art anyway. So it's not just because you're drawing that you only have to draw, but you have to inspire yourself by things around. So I mean, bucket list is also something that you wish to do, but you're maybe never gonna do.
Did you have some other creative outlets also when you were a kid, like board games or I don't know, building something from grass or something crazy?
I was a part of a sporty family, so we're doing a lot of sports, and in every sports, I was pushing myself to being the best, and basically, fighting against myself. So I think that was maybe my way of building things. But yeah, when I was until 9, I was living in a big city with a lot of, kind of suburb from France. So we were basically all the time outside, and I had a big brother, so I was following him all the time. So I guess it's where I was so active maybe about it, and I got a lot of story for actually all the time we did mistakes or things we shouldn't have done.
Perfect. And so when was the time where you told your parents you want to take this professionally, or do you remember this conversation?
Mm-hmm. Actually, it's I'm really lucky because my parents were really supportive from the start. I come from a family where maybe they did some things that was interesting them, but by talking with them later and maybe 10 years later, I understood that they had some dreams and maybe it wasn't possible at that time to do it. And in that way, they were really supportive about always following us and what do you want to do, and not pushing us, not giving us the final answer. And for example, the moment that I truly had to take the decision to go into art school was after my bachelor. So when you're 18 in France, you leave high school, and that's that's actually quite funny because in France, every year, you know that you're passing in the year after or you have to take over the class. But suddenly when you're 18, it's like, oh, now you're free. You decide where to go.
Like,
you have to pay your rent. Yeah, it's really crazy. So it's a huge stressful moment. And I remember searching with my parents all the school I could do. And of course, there were some public school because I'm near Paris an hour. So it was possible to go to Paris. So there was this good public school and I was a good student at high school. But then it was passing from theory, because in high school you're just going in class, you're listening and you're writing, to like drawing school when you're actually drawing all the time. And I was really scared. So with my parents, we also looked at literature, high rank school, like basically, you work, you're kind of a preparation school. And I couldn't shoot, and I was asking my parents to shoot, but they didn't want to. And finally, when I took the decision, I remember my dad saying that, leaving me a note on my desk, because my dad was the first one to go in the morning to work. So he left me a note saying that, oh, but you could also have been great in that way. And it made me a bit sad, but at the same time, I was like, no, I took my decision. And I think that's the first time I really took a decision that was going into my direction. And also knowing that I could have taken the normal, easy decision, the one of my whole life is prepared to like work, listening, repeat, and being a good little French girl. But with this decision, I decided to let's try to find maybe what is more me. And yeah, I was really lucky that my parents were supporting a lot.
Yeah, so then you moved. So how did
Yes.
that happen? So how did you decide?
I didn't really move because that was to Paris. I went to Estienne. It's a public school. So basically, at the two first year, I was staying at my parents' place and was commuting every day. And I was so dead that I please asked if I could have an apartment at the last year. So I had one. So for me, the transition wasn't really, I was still being with my parents at night. I was eating dinner. I was working a lot, but I was still with them. So really the transition happened when I moved to Denmark. And there, at night, I had to do my own dinner. And also I was really far away from my family. So I had to grow up really. So, but I was still being the same and drawing. So I didn't really feel the before and after drawing, because for me, it was really smooth.
And how was it adjusting to a different country? Because it's also different culture, different weather. And
Yeah, the weather. Yeah, it's really funny because right now it's really sunny, but no, guys, Denmark is not that sunny. And also, it's just after summer. That's why I'm tan now. But if this interview happens in 3 months, I'm gonna be white as a vampire. Sorry, Danish people. It's a nice country, but you miss a bit of sun.
Yeah, you have to take vitamin D. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing a lot of sports. I don't know if it works. But basically, to come back to your question, it was really hard for me first to speak English, because even if you can maybe understand me, but it's because it's been 4 years I'm here. But it's just like the language, they teach the language in France is not maybe as good as in other country. And when I arrived, I believe I was really good. And actually, I couldn't really communicating humor, and humor is a huge part of French culture, or like insinuation or little game of words. And it was really hard at the beginning. And also the culture, even if Denmark, Viborg, where I am, is like only, it's a few thousand, it's maybe 1,000 kilometers from Paris. It's not so far away, but it's really, the culture is really different. In France, if I'm really like caricatural, in France, we have to be the best. And you have to be original, and if you are on top of the others are really praying for you and like, oh yeah, you did really great, you deserve this. And in Denmark, it's more like you're ashamed of like bragging, and you should really, it's more the, everyone is good, everyone is the same, not pushing you down, but you should remember that you're a part of a society, and there are more time for the family. It's not so much individual. So that was really a clash. Like just basically thanks to Denmark, I learned that it's okay to not be the best. It's okay to not want to always improve. And it was something really new and I think really nice, because in our job we work so much that we also need to understand why we work, and to not just burn out ourselves and burn out until we die.
Yeah. So you can actually like find your work-life balance. So you can also work and have a fun, or just socialize with your friends, or just relax as well.
Yeah, and also just understanding what is the goal of your life. It's of course some people is like making a lot of movie or the best of movie, but there's never a stop. Some people can make 10 or 100. Where are you gonna stop? I'm talking about making movie, but about animation can be the same. If your dream is to work on a feature film, like after working on a feature film, what are you gonna do? You're gonna continue to do it. Well, then it's nice to know what you want, yeah, in order to not burn.
Definitely. And what would you think, what was the best advice you ever received during your time, either studying or just like starting your career?
Well, actually, I think it was when I was in my first year in France. So I was 18, and it was the first time I was drawing a lot, all the days. And my teacher at that time, we really admired this teacher because she was really close to us. Like, of course, she was young also compared to the other teacher we had in our year, but also she was harsh and pushing us and staying with us after school hours. And I remember at one point she took me apart from the class, and she told me like, Jessica, she almost called me like a mom. Like, seriously, she was pretty harsh, saying like, it's not because you work 40 hours or drawings that you're going to be better than the person who worked 10 hours or is a genius or that's a better idea. And I remember at that time that was really hard, and I cry and all that thing. But I think she understood that I needed someone to basically slap me and say like, you're not in high school anymore. Art is not just, they're not like one good answer, and it's because you work a lot that you're going to find this answer, and you're going to have to like redefine your life. And of course, at that moment, I was a bit young, so it took some years to really merge into my head. But I really like thank this moment. Like, I think also maybe she could see I was a person that was able to get this kind of harsh advice, because she was pretty harsh. but But I think it really helped me to understand that it's okay. You don't have to be the best. You have to find why you're doing this, and you don't just have to do it because society or because grades or because this is what you should do, you know.
So was there something which helped you, to set your goal, or kind of the reason why are you doing this? Did you do some research, meditation, or talk to other people?
I move so much that I try meditation or yoga, but oh my God, I'm just so bored. So actually, I do something that is maybe a bit weird, but I talk to myself a lot. Like, if I have a problem, I just, if it's a really big problem, then I take a paper and I write, for example, all the good thing, all the bad thing. I try to put everything out, because also by being in a different culture in Denmark, I realized I love talking to people and understand why the things that way. But I discover a lot about myself and, why I truly do this kind of action or the other. And I realized that by saying things loud, they become true. And by becoming true, they become workable. Like just saying I love you to someone, for example, it's stupid, but a lot of time you say it more to you, to like, oh yeah, I actually love this person. And it makes you happy because then you're in phase with yourself. But if it was still in your head, doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but you didn't really accept it. So in that way, I really try to accept my decision and not just say like, I shouldn't do that because this is not the moment. Because then I'm gonna think about it during night and during days until the time I'm like, okay, let's try to understand why I took that decision.
Oh, great. Yeah, because I heard also these theories where you can also draw your goal. Like, okay, I imagine myself, like, I don't know, like having a dog, having a white desk, having this type of computer, working on this project. So you kind of visualize every detail so you can kind of make better decisions along the way. So it can become true afterwards.
Yes, yeah. I mean, me, I'm more a writing person than drawing, because I'm thinking that, with writing, we all have kind of the same alphabet, the same word, even if we have different meaning. But with drawing, it's so easy to, to get less objective about something. Yeah. And also because it takes more time.
That's true, that's true.
Writing.
So people can choose, like, they want to write,
exactly.
or just say it or draw it, but just setting a goal actually helps.
Exactly. And it helps also your self-confidence, because by writing things down, you have a clear goal to accomplish. It doesn't have to be in 5 years, but that can be the goal of your days, the goals of your week, and then you can cross them over. That's really like a nice, cool thing. But I realize I really like doing this because especially when you're working alone, you have to have kind of a guideline, because you don't have professor anymore, or you don't have like work to tell you what to do. So.
Yeah, and do you work now with a team as well in the animation workshop, or like do you work alone at home in the studio, or how does it look like? So
right now I'm actually at the residency at the open workshop. So this is my home, but I don't work so much here. But just I was thinking this better than just like a black room, to interview you, to have an interview. But I'm working at the residency, so I'm working basically alone because I'm working on my short movie right now and writing a script. So I'm basically just working a lot, but I also do several jobs on the side. Like this month, I was a teacher as a storyboard class in the animation workshop. As well, I'm an assistant teacher in first year character animation. So because I love doing a lot of things, and I also teach French boxing. Yeah.
French boxing.
Yes.
Oh, cool. Because I thought you said like I teach French, like French.
Oh,
So
no,
okay, so
French boxing.
what is French boxing? How is it different
That's
from
always
normal?
what people say. Like it's basically boxing French people out of the society because there's so many. No, no, it's English boxing is only with the hands,
Uh-huh.
and French boxing is hands and feet. So it's
Oh,
more complete.
so it's
But it's
like
not like kickboxing. You can't use your elbow or your knee.
okay.
That's more safe. So I don't want that my student destroyed them.
That's maybe not good. Or even you, and if you have something with the head, and
Yeah, yeah,
then
yeah.
yeah, you
That's
cannot.
okay. I'm a director. I'm more like the person on the ship that say like, oh, we go that way, we go that way. So maybe if this doesn't work anymore, it's okay. But my students, if they like if they're working with me after, they need their arms.
That's true. And so, and how do you find people to work with? Like someone who would fit with your project, or right personality, right skills? How do you go about that?
But actually, yeah, I started this project not so long ago. So right now I didn't have so much to think about this kind of people. I mean, in my network, like I follow people on Instagram, on Facebook, on social media, basically, and I just write people that I think would fit. But because I don't really need them right now, I only like it's only proposition if I can, if I can hire them later. But but the fact that I'm at the open workshop, that is a residency around the school, I also see a lot of teachers coming in and a lot of people coming back from their internship. So basically, I have a pool of people to basically hire later. But right now, I'm really going step by step because I know that rushing something, like for example, I really wanted to have a producer some months ago and I basically rushed that a tiny bit too much, and realizing that no, you go to your own step because putting deadlines, it's nice for you to advance, but sometimes it can also kill your inspiration or your process, especially when you're writing a story. You need to digest. You need to write, but you need to digest what you write to actually see it better.
Yeah, definitely. And what is your biggest inspiration, like for stories, or do you have something strange which inspires you as well, or other people think it's strange?
I mean, for stories, I really always dig into my life or into experience that I could have. Like, for example, sometimes it can be just I sit in the metro and someone enter in the metro and this person had kind of an aura or kind of some clothes that inspire me a little story. But a lot of times for big story, like for short movie or like trailers or things that I did, it was more like coming about something that really interests me and dig into myself, understanding why I like this thing, and then try to push it toward my vision. So it's a bit more autobiographical. But for drawings, it can be like any kind of inspiration. I'm really inspired by fashion because it's a mix of shapes and color, and I love rhythm. So when I see a good rhythm somewhere, I can just draw. But for story, it has to have something that I can dig to really like analyze why I'm gonna go that path and not the other.
Yeah.
I'm really a scientific person sometimes.
But it makes sense. And going back to the, like when you decided to go to the school in Denmark, we talked about this before the recording a bit. Would you decide again to go to this school, or would you study online, or what would you advise young artists that are just deciding they want to work with animation, and maybe what is the difference in schools in France or in Denmark, or just studying by yourself or something like that?
So this warning, this is exactly what I think, doesn't mean this is the truth, okay? But from my experience in France, so I only did one school after my high school, so I also only have like one view of it, one experience. But I realized that in France, we don't have a lot of studies that go really high up. Like you can go bachelor +2 for free, but after you have to pay, and it will be a private school all the time. Mm-hmm. Well, so the private school is also more expensive than in Denmark. So for example, that was also why I came to Denmark. But also, generally speaking, the way of thinking in France, it's more like you have to prove yourself and you have to be the best. So a lot of time you're going to be really good technically, but maybe you're going to miss this kind of being at ease with yourself and understanding why you're doing that job. And that's also why a good thing for the school I was in the animation workshop, because you work a lot, but they also remind you that you're human, and you have human need, and you need to be social and do sports. And also this is set in Viborg. Like Viborg, this is not Paris, you have way less attraction.
Yeah,
but if I have to redo, I forget to say it. If you want to come to Viborg, it's really far away, but it's really worth it because of the pool of people that are here. But generally speaking, I would totally redo the same experience again and again to come to this school, because I really think this is the best school in the world. Like without bragging, it's just if you ask everyone in the school, we are all happy because it's the students who like makes the school makes the curriculum better all the time, and the teacher will listen to it. We don't have grades; we grade our teacher. The schedule is really up to us, and it's really nice because they let, of course, as a school, they help you and they guide you, but little by little you're less and less guided until you can become autonomous. And I think in France, maybe at least the way of working in France, it's so much into a structure that maybe when you arrive in the professional areas and you jump on something first because you need this kind of structure again. But again, that was maybe only the experience I had. And for me, at least as a Jessica, it was really nice to go to Denmark and to study there. And I'm still there. So, and I'm an adult, but I'm still in the Viborg. So that's crazy.
Yeah, and I've been to Viborg, and the Viborg itself is not so exciting. But as you said, like people and the school and everything. So that's really good that you had a good experience. So
yeah, that's a good place. Like I have friends who come from France to the residency in Denmark because they only need to work 2 months and they really want to be dedicated to their work, and that's the best place to do it. But it's true, like after it's a tiny city. I mean, Denmark has really not a lot of inhabitants inside. Like it's a tiny bit more than Paris, like just so you can see. So of course it's spread, and yeah, it's different. It's a different culture, as you said.
And is there something you wish you knew before you started the whole artistic career?
That people will have tell me to do, or like
or just like your experience. Maybe what would you advise to young self?
Well, I will advise to get to know yourself because it's so easy to jump into as I say a box and like just follow this box because it's easy, you know. But when you start asking yourself the question, who I am, and I mean you're the person you're spending the most time with, so it's better that you get to know yourself before. And also, of course, we're all afraid to fail and we don't want to fail, but I don't know anyone who just went from zero to success, you know. I think they really went to the success thanks to having failing, not this way, failing, okay, not this way, not this way, not this way. And finally, at the end, they reach who they are and they're better because they failed. So don't be afraid to fail and be yourself, and get inspired by things outside of your comfort zone, of course. But like, for example, if you're working in animation, like go to a theater, maybe dance, I don't know, do sports, read books. It's like everything is connected. It's like geography and history, you know, when you understand that mondialization is connected, then you start being good.
Yeah.
I really had this clicking at school. That's crazy.
Yeah, so also like just trying writing or like, I don't know, writing even poems or stories, yes, or everything. And then at least you find out what you don't like, so you can
exactly. Yes, I really advise people to do that. And also because it's easy to say, oh, I'm in animation. I would only watch animation movie, for example. When animation is on your genre, you know, it doesn't mean that Kubrick is not well worth to watch, or, you know, other big artists.
So what are your favorite movies as an inspiration? Do you have one or some?
Well, I don't think I have a favorite movie because I think we all change, and, you know, it changed with time. But right now, my favorite movie are Francesa and Mistress America. Actually, this is Francesa.
Okay.
It's by Noah Baumbach, and it's co-written with Greta Gerwig. And I think it's movies about the crisis of the 30s in the New York, kind of romanticism New York. So inspired by French New Wave, with really nice composition, really nice dialogue, and overall really nice rhythm. And I think it's why I really connect to it. Because they keep you inside for, it's not just because the story is good or because the actress is good, but the overall thing.
So is there something else you look for in the movie, like, I don't know, layouts, colors, and do you maybe write down what you liked about it, or you just remember and the inspiration come later?
I screenshot the movie. I love composition. So when there's a composition I really like, I screenshot it, or I write dialogues, like piece of dialogues that I really like, or even like stories. But I think if I'm attracted to a movie, it's a movie that make me reflect. You know, not just a movie that I'm an audience, but some things that during the movie I'm like, what happened? What will happen next? Or I knew it. You know, like when I'm engaged in it, because then it's a movie playing with you. And I think, like, for example, I really, really liked Mulholland Drive. Also, I saw it like from David Lynch when I was 18. But I think it was a total new kind of movie, because at the end of the movie, I was like, what happened? I didn't understand anything. but actually you understand things, but then you have to rethink in your head and put things back together. And that was for me a new kind of abstract way to telling a story. And I think this is what movies are so nice, is that because they show perspective of life from one director to another. So if you see a lot of them, then you kind of expand your thinking, and also you see things that you're like, wow, this is so well thought, and I would have never thought about it. So thank you. And it's really short, so it's okay. It doesn't consume 20 hours of your life like a series.
That's true. That's true. And do you have also like favorite books which inspires you, or something maybe you learned from?
I would say two different kind of books. And books that really inspire me as me, Jessica. And a lot of time I'm talking about myself because I think as a director, you're basically creating what is a bit yourself. So for me, it's really important that you get to know yourself to become a better director. So as a book to myself, The Real Story of Peter Pan by James Matthew Barry was really a milestone in my life because it was showing you just kind of a psychoanalysis of like children's thoughts and how the society was putting what you should do and what you should not do. And also see the cruelty of like real raw feelings, and of course like forgetting about time. And I mean, I think I still have to dig into myself to understand why this book is so important to me, but I think it was really like a really big thing for me. But on the art side, I would say that I was really, on the technical side, inspired by The Forces by Matesi, by Mark Matesi, because he really showed like how in the body, the muscle are just forces, when you draw. And that how can you understand like to create a dynamic drawing by having a resting pose, and it was really, for me, it was another way of looking at life, by, okay, I'm seeing forces now and not just construction and understanding things. And other books, of course, there was a visual story by Bruce Bloggs that for me is kind of a Bible of what you should do and what you shouldn't, even if it's nice to be remembered, and how to make a good script better. That's hard. It's by Linda Sayer or Mayer. I don't really remember, but it's really good because like Bruce Bloggs, he give you like kind of hint and kind of a scientific way and approach to art, but then that's tools that you can reuse because now you have put them in a box in your head, so it's easier to reuse them than if they were a mess.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, you have so many good books. I need to put everything on my to-do read list.
I actually just discovered them like a year ago, so that's why they're so fresh, and I'm like, yeah, books.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, because now it's like, how do you organize your day, or how do you kind of manage to read and do your projects and everything at the same time? Do you have like a special structure of the day or like routines?
I'm eating a lot of sugar. I don't know if it's really good, but I always have candies next to me. No, but I try to keep, because right now it's different because I have like real job next to it. But if I'm only at the residency working for myself, then I try to go at the same hours as I was going to the school, so the working hours of the day. But I'm more flexible about it. Like I play tiny games while on the way, or sometime at lunch I take a 30-minute more to like watch a part of a movie or something. So I try to still do an hour of discovery something a day, like reading a book or looking just online at the new videos that are posted, or like following some website. But other than this, when I arrive at my work, I just plan like, what do I need to do today? What do I need to do during the week? And then I answer email, and I mean, I do the normal thing, but I do a lot of administration and networking actually without noticing it, because just the organization of your day take a long time.
And so how do you do the networking, or how do you get yourself noticed, as we talked about it a bit before the interview as well? Like you mentioned the school networking, and do you do also networking online, or what would you advise people? What is the best from your experience?
I don't. What was best from my experience is that I'm someone who like to socialize a lot, who like to talk to people. So I do most of my networking like in real, like with people that I can see around. That I'm doing a lot of different activity next to the school and the networking place that I have here. So I get to know people on a different level. But yeah, as I said to you, like, so the residency is at the school that is next also to a company hub that is the Arsenal. So it attracts a lot of professional every week, so every month. For example, if they are teachers, they come and go out, and also the students come back from their internship. So in that way, I have a knowledge of where is the industry right now. But I also keep contact with the people I did work or I intern at their place, and so a lot of times the people you spend time with are also people that share kind of your what you like. So in that way, I can follow the part of the industry I like. And I get, of course, I continue to go to festival, or I apply to pitch to festival my own project to get known to. I always go to Annecy every year. I'm trying to go to cartoon movies, but it's a bit too expensive. But I mean, it's try to know what is happening around you. Like me, I'm talking about Europe because I'm really into the European way of thinking. And I also, for example, I'm this year I'm part of ASF, that is Animation Sans Frontières. That means Animation Without Borders. And it's a 4-time, 2 weeks training workshop in 4 different animation schools in Europe. So you can understand the way of thinking of funds and of the industry by seeing. So it's 2 weeks in Ludwigsburg in Germany in the Film Academy, 2 weeks in Budapest in Momé, 2 weeks at the animation workshop here, and 2 weeks in Gobelin in Paris. So, and through this workshop, you can, of course, get to know more people from the industry, but you can also pitch, know about basically know about the industry nowadays. And I think, at least for a director, it's really nice to keep updated about what is happening right now. And that's my way of doing it, like keeping my relationship with people, but also not just on the networking side as a friend, know what is happening around me, and always like being curious. But it's because I'm a really curious person, so I guess it helped me.
And what do you think? Because some artists or creative people are really shy, and what would be maybe the approach if you are more shy and you are like not really directly talking to people right away?
Yeah, sorry. I think that it's really nice to do different things from working, for example. So go to some sports or go to some activities, because even if you're shy, that's a way to start bonding with people. And basically, if you become friends with people, then you're not going to notice that you're networking. So that's a way also. Of course, there's social media, and if you're more shy, then following people on Instagram, on Twitter, on Tumblr, like me, I'm not on Tumblr, neither on Twitter, because it takes so much of my time. And it's also, that was my choice to decide to be more like with people that I can see around. Yeah. But I have a lot of friends who got really well known thanks to Twitter or Instagram, just by posting every day. They got reblogged, and after they can follow people they like. And at one point they got the confidence enough to ask people questions, and they become friends, and after they develop a network.
Yeah, definitely. And when you mentioned the festivals, do you also go to, what was the name here? Fantoche Festival here in Switzerland? I think that's an animation festival.
Yeah, no, I still graduated like only in January, so it's not a long time that I say an adult. So I didn't really like went to other festivals than the one that was in Annecy, or like a comic festival in France in January, because I was in school at that time. But right now I'm not going to go to all these little festivals, but I keep myself updated about them. I mean, they're not so little, sorry, but it's just like, for me, Annecy is kind of the biggest networking moment in Europe. Yeah. So I keep myself updated about who is going there. And a lot of time I have friends who got selected to go there or who pitch there. So I'm asking themselves also about like the industry. But I think when you go to 1 or 2 big festivals per year, you basically see the same thing, kind of, you feel the pull of Europe or of the world at that stage. For example, right now in 2 weeks there will be a festival in Viborg, and it's a Nordic, Japan and Danish festival. So of course I'm going to see more things, but there are also things that were already shown in Annecy. So it's kind of you say it again, and again.
Yeah. So because maybe this interview will be probably a bit later than in 2 weeks, so people can check it out online. So,
sorry. Yeah.
So end of September is usually the festival.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
perfect.
It's really nice because then that's also, it's a smaller festival, for example, Annecy, so you get to know more maybe things that are normally not selected to. Like I went to another festival in April, that was a festival of Brittany in France, because I got selected to pitch my movie, and it was also nice to see more maybe indie movies and movies that also don't get selected to big festivals. So I will suggest to people who want to network to maybe don't do all the festival, but select like one small festival and one big festival to do at least per year, because then you have both approach. But there's no point of doing so much because they cost money, they cost some of your time and some of your energy, so you need also to be wise about how to use them.
Yeah. Because the Annecy one, I've been there 2 years ago, I think, and that one was really nice because you can also sit outside, watch the movies. The area is beautiful, and there's so many theaters you can watch the movies in. So that's actually good for networking in animation, for sure.
And all the people kind of gather at the same time of the year, like not just from Europe, but I have some friends who go to Wednesday and they don't watch any movies. They just have like meeting all days because that's the only moment they can manage to regroup all the people from their studio or from the co-production they're doing. So it's a really diverse festival. And this year I was a professional in it, while before I was a student, and I discovered another side of it with actually way more party and networking moments. But when I say party, it's always networking, but like different kind of event. And I was like, okay, wow, this is a really deep festival. And actually it's like life. You have to decide what you want to do with it because you can just lose yourself in it.
Yeah, so you have to learn how to prioritize what you actually want to do on the festival. So it's good to plan ahead.
Yes, that's maybe the end sentence of my talk. You need to plan what you want. You can't do everything. It's not possible. You're gonna die.
And so when you have to decide about the projects you will do, how do you say no to projects, or what is kind of going on in your head? Like, what is the decision process?
Well, it might sound a tiny bit like career focus, but I really ask myself, is it in alignment with what I want to do with my career? And this is really new because I was asked actually this question last year by Tom Moore, director at Cartoon Saloon, which I pitched my project to it, my short movies that I'm working right now. And the first question that he asked me was like, okay, but what is the plan of your career? I was like, oh, a career, what? Is it something that I have to think about? Yeah, exactly. And when you're so young, in your career, you don't want to ask yourself this because it's a bit presumptuous, and you don't want to push yourself too far away because you don't want to be disappointed. But by actually asking myself this question, I realized that there's not one way of becoming what you want. So me, I want to become a director, but I could, for example, go inside the studio and little by little have more responsibility, prove myself, and then at the end direct for the studio I really like. But I could also try to direct a lot of things by myself and get my experience on the field until basically I get noticed, and maybe like I got sponsor or I got agent. So I realized by actually deciding which way I want to go, that was my way of planning my career. So when there's a job or an opportunity that come in front of me, I always ask myself first if I really want to do it and what's the good thing and bad thing about it. But then after, is it really the best thing to my career right now? And it's really funny, I have a little anecdote for this actually. That was, I think in March, this year, I knew about a super awesome job in Spain about being storyboarder on a feature film. And because I was lucky enough that the director already pitched me the project when I was at another work. So I saw that this project would be really awesome, really a nice thing. And it's in Spain. I love Spain. I want to speak Spanish fluently. But anyway, I really wanted to do it. But I was like, no, I'm doing something else at that moment. I can't do it. And because I just said to myself, I can't do it, during the night, I was thinking in Spanish, like I dream in Spanish that I was having an argument with someone, like I was really talking Spanish in my head. So when I woke up the day after, I was like, no way, I need to understand why I decided not to go there. Mm-hmm. And then I put self on the table. And as I said to you, I decided, and I really understood why I was right at first, I couldn't do it. And because I understood it, then I was able to dream in French again and be good with myself and really understand, okay, this was a good opportunity, but I shouldn't have regrets about it because I understood why right now it's maybe not the best to apply. Mm-hmm. And also, maybe I have applied, maybe not get it, it's just like you have to be, there were no point of applying and then waiting to have an answer because then I would have been in front of the thing. And, it's better to think before, I think, to also keep your energy and not... so much.
Kind of what you want to achieve, or either working for big studios or like on the projects you just really admire, or on your own things.
Because I don't, maybe it's only because I become my career and it's at a really good time in the industry, but right now there's so many jobs around. Like I'm also really lucky to not like to do one thing. Mm-hmm. So of course I have more options, but I'm basically kind of refusing a tiny bit of job, and I can really choose what is me. So because I'm so lucky, like it's better that I do the best and I not jump into the first project ever. Mm-hmm. And also without being pessimistic, our life is quite short. So it's better that we do what we really want to. Yeah. We're spending so much time and so much energy into something. So it's better that it's meaningful to us, I would say.
Yeah, and how do you find new paid projects, or kind of, we could talk about the networking a bit before. So maybe, or what do you live from right now? As you mentioned that you are teaching as well. So is that main source of income, or do you have also sponsors for the movie, or how does it look like when you are creating a movie? You still need to live from something, right?
Yes, no, true. I live from love and fresh water.
That's really good. It
That's a
sparkles in the
French
air.
proverb. Yeah, exactly. Ta-da. No. Yeah, I do several little jobs at right now. So it's like teaching, doing conferences, feedback session. Yeah, everything that is around teaching and workshop weekend or something like this. So tiny incomes, but I also still have a bit of funding that I got from last year. But I really like advance day by day. So right now I have enough to live like until the end of this year. And I think I would maybe have more for the next semester, but I think it's okay because the residency that I'm going to is free. My apartment, it's quite cheap because it's been some years I'm here. So also right now, it makes me not be so worried about money. And I also have like some, how do you say when you actually got some money some years before and you just
Yes,
accumulate?
savings.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
savings.
yeah.
So I have a tiny bit of savings also, so I can survive. But of course, this is because I just start my career, let's say. So I don't want to jump, as I said to you before, into the first job. But I think it would be nice in 1 or 2 years to have at least more than just, oh, in case I have saving to survive, because you should be paid for what you do. But right now, I took the decision of like, yeah, just working on my script. And normally, it doesn't take you 2 months to do this, but I'm letting myself time. So it's a decision that I took.
Yeah, perfect. And how would you describe your brand or your creations? Is there something which always goes through your like either directing, writing, or drawings? Some like vision or mission.
Yeah, I would say that as a director, you always have a vision, and even when I'm writing, like this is also directing because you put a vision into it. So I would say that my vision is really I want that at the end of my work, that is a video or drawing or writing, I want that my audience embrace each other. Like they go and maybe say I love you to this person they never said before. That could be a member of the family, maybe someone that is close, but just basically I want to connect people more together and realizing that helping them to do the first step, because it's so, especially it's something that I really understand like the past few years, communication is so important, and we just use communication in so many ways that I'm not going to say bad, but we say something to someone and this person understands it in their own way, so it's so easy to be misunderstood. So with my work I really want to make people open more and and just cherish the people that are around them at that time.
Yeah.
As well as I want people to work with me because I can push them further as well as they push me further on more professional level.
Did you have some kind of experience as well of like miscommunication or something?
I think the family is a huge example of this. I don't know for you, but I think it's just an example of like people that you live with since you're really little. So they're used to someone you are, but you're changing it. So you do mistakes that maybe you only get mature little by little. So of course, I mean, you don't say I love you to them so often, but we love each other because we don't need to say it, but you need to say it sometimes, because to remind who you are and that they're important to you. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm using family, but friends. I mean, any people around you. Like we never say to someone that, for example, it's teaching to us something or that give us a book. We never truly say thank you or like it was really inspiring or just thank you, because we're like, oh yeah, but they know that they did a good work, they know they don't need that. But yeah, sometimes it's nice to say, oh, I like your shoes, or your haircut today seems nice, or like little attention make people day brighter. It's like when the sun is out in Denmark, I'm so happy.
That's true. I learned that as well more in Denmark, because you appreciate so much like these small things. And we were discussing this with some people as well when I was living there, like, oh yeah, like you really learn to appreciate everything, and you have maybe not even just a lower expectations, but you are more happy from like kind of normal things other people would say.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. Like, I think happiness is not something that arrive on you like, oh, poof, I'm happy. No, it's something that, hey, wait, my life is like this, and I'm actually like to do that. Hey, I'm happy. I think it's more something that you think about. And that's why, for happiness. Sorry, guys, we're going to like like a philosophical discussion. But that's why I think that happiness can be sad for some people because they realize they were always happy in the past.
Yeah.
But the way to be happy in the present is to actually ask yourself the question.
Yeah. What makes you happy?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I mean, this is also part of the motivation when you don't have like, you know, you don't feel like you want to create stuff and you just want to like, oh, okay, I don't feel like drawing or creating. And then just to know what makes you happy. Like if I'm really enjoying having coffee on the sun, you know, on the balcony, then I can do that. And then I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, and you don't need to be motivated all the time. It's okay to have bad days. I think I heard a person who says that like it's okay to not be 100% every day, but some days you're going to be less. Your possibility will be less. But if you try as much as the day before, then it's the same that if you were 100% of the time. So it's really important that you pushing yourself, but also being aware that we're different every day. So we are humans.
Yeah, exactly. So if we have a bad day, we can just accept it and then just, I don't know, we can watch a movie, and when you feel productive, then, okay, you just do stuff.
Exactly.
Perfect. And did you ever receive like really bad advice, or you think, or you see someone giving other young artists like really bad advice, or just like really worst thing ever?
It's really weird to think about bad advice because, of course, like people can say some things that you can disagree with, but I don't think someone really say like, I mean, I don't remember right now. If I think about something, it's hard, but I have an example of someone that was just going different than me. And for me, that was a bad advice, but doesn't mean it was bad. Like it was in my third year at the animation workshop. So we have to do a bachelor all together. And I was in a group of 9 people, so quite a big group. And we had some problems along the way. Of communication again, or about like artistic problem. And I was the only one stepping in and saying like, oh, we have problems we need to deal with. But because I was alone, that was kind of hard to have some weight. So I was asking to one of my friends that was in the group, hey, why you don't like, help me and raise this problem? Because by raising them, of course, it's going to be hard, but we might be able to overcome them. And he was like, I think saying something like, this is not a battle I should pick. Or I will pick, and I prefer to step out of it. And I was really angry toward him, but because for me he was a coward at that moment. But I realized that was a judgment of me trying to like, I see a problem, let's make it better. And of course I wasn't in his shoes, and for him maybe he had other things on his life to take at that point, and for him like maybe work was only work. Yeah. So, and for me, that was a bad advice because it was saying to me that if something doesn't work, you should just,
like
find something else. Yeah, step back. So for me, it was bad, but it could have been nice for him at that point. And I just think it depends if you would decide to go left or right without political thoughts in it.
Yeah. So sometimes it's also good to say if something is not working, even for yourself, if the project you are working on that doesn't work, then you can just, at some point, maybe you have to like, okay, maybe I have to do something else.
Yeah, you have just, I mean, for me, that was my way of dealing with this problem. Like I was fighting them and I was trying to find a solution with it. But for other people, that's okay to also step back or do different thing. But then you really have to ask yourself, you can't just see the problem and say, yeah, we have problem. Because even if you step back, you decide to step back, it's you have to take decision, I say, in both cases.
And did you experience something like the most difficult career moment or kind of the worst moment? Maybe it can be just like after school and you were not sure what to do, or just any moment of your creative career?
Actually, that's quite funny because after school, I didn't have a lot of problem because I was, as I said to you, really planning. And I was planning what I could do, and I have a bit of savings, so I wasn't really in the rush of finding something. So for me, after school was really nice, really tiring because I didn't got. Of course, when you're working alone, it's easy, so you don't take any holidays because you're like, yeah, but I shouldn't take holiday, I should work. So that was hard, but I think my hardest career moment was when in third year I didn't get to be the director. Because in my school, it's students who pitch their project and students who vote for it. And the project I pitched it, I got a lot of good comments and people voted for it, but I did not have enough people, so I didn't become a director. And it was really hard for me because it was at a moment I wasn't thinking about planned career. And I believe that to become a director, you had only to direct. And luckily, I had like 2 months of summer holiday to kind of make this plan, like what is good, what is not good, what do I want, and blah, blah, blah. So I actually understood that there are different way of, I could still learn by not being a director. And for me, that was a really difficult moment, because I really had the impression I was losing a whole year, by not being a director. But I decided to learn it by another way, that was actually being on the other side of the mirror. And I'm happy I took this decision, because I could have just have a bittersweet year, just thinking all the time, I would have done better than this person and stuff. But no, I was trying to be like, no, this is my place. There's a director. Let's work under it and learn from what they do and how I react to them also. Because now I don't have to project myself into the people I work with. I'm the person, that work with the director. So actually, it was a really nice experience.
Yeah. Sounds good. I mean, like because you can learn something from it.
Yeah, exactly.
And so what are kind of the projects which you are working on now? Something upcoming you want to share? Something exciting?
There is two exciting things at the moment. As I say, I'm part of ISF, Animation Without Borders. So I didn't start yet because it's starting in October, but I'm really excited to have. I mean, I'm from France, so I know a bit networking of France. I'm also working in Denmark, so I know a tiny bit. And I did the internship in Portugal, a tiny bit in Spain and Portugal, and Ireland, sorry. So I know a tiny bit there, but I want to have like a broader view of Europe. So I'm really excited about just going there and learning and meeting new people. But I'm also super excited about the short movie I'm working on right now. That the name is Siblings. And it's a story about two sisters that basically reconnect years after separation. And they reconnect through the element that was connecting them, first of all, that was the water. And they're going to talk about competition and relationship and problem of communication. And I'm really excited about this project because I already directed tiny project, but this one will be a 20 minutes, right now it is a 20-minute 2D short movie with dialogues. And I really want to create not the kind of dialogue that we see often in short movie, that you don't have a lot of time, so you go really direct. I want to create dialogues that have a meaning, maybe a rhythm and a poetry to it. So that's why I'm taking so much time to work on the script right now. But I'm really excited about this project also because it comes from a lot of things that are important to me, like water. It's one of my elements, of course, that I also talked into two of the movie before, but also family, some things that I'm 25 right now, so I'm totally in the moment that I'm questioning my relationship to my family, and my brothers and this kind of thing. So I think it's totally a moment of actuality for me as a person and as a director also, because 20 minutes, it's longer than 4 or 5.
Yeah, that's you can have a lot of dialogues and a lot of story, and yes, looking forward to see that.
Me too.
And what do you work with? Do you work with like Photoshop, Premiere Pro, or do you have a favorite sketchbook you work with, or what are your tools?
So me, as I say, I write more than I draw. So I have a lot of different planners and notebook, and I write a lot on Word. But every time I have to create a concept, I always draw first traditionally and then on the computer, because I don't feel so comfortable on the computer that I am with traditional media. Mm-hmm. So let's say I'm more, I love crayons, color crayons. Oh, okay. Actually I'm really into colors. I love expressing my feelings toward colors, with colors. But also if I'm on computer, I'm something really, not with a lot of shade, but something really easy with like flat colors, like kind of graphical. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. This is more how I express myself, let's say.
And do you have like a favorite crayons, like a special brand or special like planner you mentioned?
Oh, well, I mean, I don't like so much advertising, but I think I have like, I don't remember the name of it. That's a Faber-Castell crayons, because they had a lot of different range. But before I also had like some other kind of crayons that was watercolor one, so I could also play with it. But basically, I think any kind of crayon is nice. It's just that I'm someone who is sometimes really violent in my way of drawing. So I need a crayon that, no, but I'm like a kid, like, to have a big color, because that's also, I mean, I think I also play when I draw, so I want to have fun and expressing my emotions. So I want a kind of a strong crayon, but I don't really care about the brand so much. I mean, of course, this one I have this since some years, and I think the brand is for something. But
yeah, because it's like when you find something what you like, then it's easier to create stuff.
Yeah.
With, so yeah,
exactly.
And let's talk about the future. What would you imagine you will be doing in like 5 to 10 years, and you cannot fail, you are not afraid of anything, and you're just enjoying what you want to do?
If everything was working perfectly, you mean?
Yes, exactly how you want.
Okay, well, I hope I will still be doing actually what I'm doing right now. And it's funny that you asked me this question, because in a way that's saying if everything could never fail, that means if I was happy. But I think I'm pretty happy with my life right now. So I will, that's such a good thing to say. I'm going to watch this video again, think, oh, I was happy at that time. but I think I will continue to work. I mean, I hope I will be finished with Siblings. And I will be working on a feature film, because I want to do feature film later. And if it works well, then doing another one until I want to stop sharing my perspective of life to other people. And of course, I want to maybe travel, continue to travel to like go and work on really interesting projects with really interesting people, and still be able to see the people I love, my family, partner, friends. I mean, so yeah, basically. Oh yeah, and one thing. Okay, maybe this is really difficult, but I would love to be fluent in Danish, and this is really hard. So yeah, if I could succeed in everything, please make me succeed in learning Danish, because it's really hard.
yeah. I just got to the level where I understand something, but I couldn't speak. So yeah, so good for you. Then go for it.
Yeah, I have a really difficult time with the accent, but I think coming from France, I already have a huge accent, so.
And if you would think like really far in the future, like 100 years, what would you like to be remembered for?
Yeah, I was like in 100 years, I would be dead, so okay. But remember. Well, that's maybe a bit cliche, but I think I would love to be remembered as me. I mean, first I would love that the people around me, or I mean, they will be dead, or like other people, like they remember who I was as a person. And then the movie that was really talking about who I was, me, because I think the art is an extension of a person. At least it's how I see it for me. So that's why I think it's really important that, yeah, they try to get behind the art of the person and try to understand who it is. So yeah, I would love to be remembered for me and for what I can give thanks to my movies. So basically, it's a part of me, like I'm here embracing my audience. Like I want to people continue to have hope, and I'm with them saying you can do it. It's okay. I'm with you. This kind of thing. Yeah, like a creepy side ghost, like I'm with you.
Oh, good. And like before we finish this interview, maybe you can share like last piece of advice or key takeaway, and then we will say goodbye.
Last piece on advice. Well, I can maybe say a quote that is. It's a French quote. So I'm going to say it in French first, but I think it's pour que le monde retrouve sa grandeur, il suffit de le regarder avec des yeux d'enfant. And that's mean for the world. You understand?
No.
Okay, because you're like, oh.
No, I was like, maybe I will, but no.
Sorry, I was maybe speaking big fast, but it's like for the world to recover is greatness. You have to look at it with the eyes of a child. And I think that's a pretty interesting quote, because it shows you that basically to be happy, you just have to change your point of view. Sometimes just changing your point of view a tiny bit, further to the left or further to down, you can understand that, okay, actually what I'm doing right now is not that bad because this of this of this. And I think it's always nice when you're when you keep you lost your motivation to just like, okay, but what did I really do, and how can I do it better?
Yeah.
So, yeah,
really nice.
It's a motivation cue.
Good. And thanks so much again for being here, and it was amazing.
Thank you, Eva. Yeah, and good luck with all this interview, and I hope this will reach some people.
So hopefully everyone will enjoy this, and thanks you guys for watching and listening, and see you in the next episode.
Bye bye.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and let me know in comments. Also, please subscribe to my channel for more videos, because I post new interview every single workday. You can also find the resources mentioned in this episode at artsideoflife.com. Just type a guest name in the search bar. There is also a little freebie waiting for you, so go check it out. If you want to listen to the interviews on the go, make sure to check out the podcast episodes at artsideoflife.com/podcast. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you, and don't forget to inspire each other. I will see you guys in the next episode.